Could it be? Am I seeing things? No, that can't be Project 308 sitting on the ground. Well, it certainly looks that way to me. So let's kick Season 2 off right now. Stay tuned for all the details. And well, it wouldn't be Project 308 if something didn't break immediately. Come on. As I slowly make my way around the car, testing things as I go along, one good fan, one bad. No matter, I've got plans for these fans. Actually, I'm planning on replacing them. That'll be in a later episode, though. One thing I'll say for sure is that these air horns work really, really well. Now, just in case you're wondering, while I'm sitting here editing this video, I actually had to pull the volume down on that air horn clip by about 50%. Man, it was loud. There's supposed to be 4 of these clips, but I only got 1. Well, I was having a hard time finding these online, so I figured maybe I could 3D print something. What do you think? Today's your lucky day because you're getting a crash course on how to copy and 3D print a plastic part. First, we scan it and then we import it into Fusion 360 as a canvas. This overlays it at 50% translucent on the sketch plane, where I can input a measurement I've made off the actual part to put it to scale. From there, it's pretty easy. It's kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch. Although it is a bit time-consuming to get the details just right, it's worth it in the end. Extrude the part in 3D space, and then find yourself a 4-legged friend to supervise the printing. There's my original, and here's the one that I've 3D printed. Now I can see that this one is a tad wee bit bigger. If I had to say my scale was off, it was probably off 10%, so I think it's still going to work, but short of scaling it down, which will scale this size down, which may or may not be right. We're going to try it, but let me zoom in so you can take a close look at what's going on. Okay, so it's a little bit tighter there. Okay. Definitely error there. Damn. Lou making a mistake? That's
inconceivable! Inconceivable! Give using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
So here we have my 3 iterations of the same part. That was the first one. That one was clearly too large, and the body was too big. That wasn't that far off. On this version, I shrunk this part of the body down by 6%, and then I obviously made this part too big. This is version number 3 of said part, and I think I got it pretty much perfectly here now. I've got the body the same size, pretty much identical, and I've improved. There's a little divot there for it to slide into the frame of the car. I think this is the one that's going to work. Let's go give it a try. That worked perfectly. I'd say that's pretty much an exact reproduction. Now, of course, somebody's going to write in the comments, they're going to send me a link, and they're going to show me exactly where I could have bought that clip, and I'm going to go, oh, I just wasted all that frickin' time. But anyways, I did it myself. Look at me now. These things serve a double purpose now, don't they? Trying to paint these in black, didn't really work out. I tried to spray paint them first, it didn't work. Then I used a heavier paint and it just looked like shit. So I've just ordered some filament, some black filament. I'll just reprint them in black. I was asking Terry, what do you think? I need to bend this beam back. So we're underneath the car right now. Let me move back a little bit so you can get a perspective. All right, there we go there. That is the support beam. And if we look at it, if Milton moves his hand for a second, if I lift that up, you'll see that that beam is bent. It's got a little curve in it like this. I believe somebody has put a jack here at one point in their life. So I was asking Terry what he thought, because I was going to get a power pack and try and squish it back, but he's like, oh, let me try this idea. And since everybody wants more Terry anyways, let's see what he's got. So he's got like just a jack there.
Oh, here it comes. Can you get a straight edge? Pull it there. Close that gap, boys and girls. Close that gap. See if it rocks. Does it rock back and forth?
You bent it?
I know it's hard to see what's going on, but essentially Terry has taken an old car spare tire jack, he's modified it at an earlier point of his career, and he uses it to do stuff like this. He's got it wedged in there against another stronger beam, and he's just pushing back this little one. And there's one more little spot just off to the passenger side that needs a bit of straightening. He's got that one too.
But that looks fantastic, dude. You straighten that out real sweet.
And now that Terry has finished stealing the show, well, we can get back to the menial tasks like cleaning and painting. This clip right here of me is actually supposed to be a clip of me putting the steering rack in, but I somehow didn't film it, and I ended up shooting a picture of myself instead. But here's the next shot of the steering rack in the car.
So the big nut, so that there's a shaft that slides, it's loose still. So you can slide the shaft up and back. Okay, so I got to put two nuts in here first. Okay. Just got to get this over the little hump here. Pull down slightly. Okay, just hold it there. Okay, now push that flange towards me a bit. Just the flange, if you can. Okay, yep, that's what I want. Okay, I'm going to start one nut. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I'm almost there. I can't get my hand on it. But don't move, I'll get it. Okay, so we're looking at the pinion of the steering rack and the shaft that's coming from the steering column. Now, because I changed the orientation of the unit joints and everything in here, I did not mark the orientation between here and here. So what I need to figure out now is I need this orientation to be correct. So before I get to the alignment rack, because if I'm off 2 or 3 teeth here, if I'm off 2 or 3 teeth, then it becomes very difficult to get the alignment right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to find the exact, as close as I can, steering center point, and then I'm going to adjust the steering wheel accordingly to get the steering wheel orientated onto the right spline over here.
In order for me to find the center point of the rack, I have to first calculate how many turns it is from lock to lock. It doesn't matter which side I start from. I'm just going to mark the center point. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, and a little bit more, about 20 minutes if we're thinking of it as a clock. Continuing on, thinking of it as a clock, I'm an hour and a half plus 10 minutes away from center point.
That's pretty close. I don't know how I guessed it, but I got it pretty close. I was worried that the steering wheel would be like this, but I think I'm pretty much ready to go. I'm going to lock everything up now. Well, that was definitely a challenge. Well, fussy is the word to use, fussy. Thankfully, no suspension in the car, made it relatively easy to get to. But steering column, steering rack, everything's back in. Now I can start putting my suspension back in, which is what I've been waiting for. I want to get those new shocks in.
The sway bar is an integral part of the reassembly, so it's got to be repaired and put back in first. And don't worry, all you complainers, about this little tiny vise. I am replacing it soon. We need a little bit more horsepower than that vise, so it's off to the press I go.
What is that, 21, 19?
This bolt actually goes in the other direction, but I'm just forcing it in this way to kind of center the arm, because I can't tap on it from the inside. Finally, I get to put my new shiny coilovers in.
Alright, so I've temporarily misplaced a bolt, a nut. So I've stolen one off the other side. I can't find it in the next couple hours. I'm just going to order 2 nuts. But that's why I like getting stuff back on the car as quickly as possible, because things don't get lost that way. A couple hours, a couple days, what's the difference? Fortunately, I found them. I put them exactly where I was supposed to put them, but I didn't remember where I put them because I put them in such a special spot in the first place. I should have put the brake cable in first. I will do so on the other side, just because it's easier to get to without all the stuff in there. So the upper ball joint's a little tougher than it looks. Here's the problem. As you can see, the cotter pin that I put in, I wasn't paying attention when I dropped the ball joint down, but the cotter pin goes right there. This bracket faces the caliper. This is where this brake line goes into it, and that goes there. Problem being is that when I hit that torque, that cotter pin is shooting straight into the back of that bracket. The whole orientation has to be of the brake caliper has to be set up first. So before I go tightening this and cotter putting up, I'm going to get my caliper on. I'm going to pop that ball joint back out again, turn the cotter pin, and put it in a different position. All right, I'm going to gently as I can pop this ball joint free. Hopefully it's not too tight.
$6 million man, ready to operate and command. Colonel Steve Austin is the $6 million man. Check him out with the bionic transport and repair station. Control his amazing lifting strength. See through his wide-angle bionic eye. The man is bionic transport that becomes a repair station and a working backpack radio.
Super exciting to see the brakes going back together. Torque the wheel bearing, torque it once while rotating and back it off and put it to a lesser torque. I believe, if I remember correctly, it was 11 foot-pounds. And then take it all back apart again because you forgot to put the shield on behind the brake rotor.
Next on the list of fun is the caliper shims. This is the caliper. It's like, sits like this. It's all dusty.
A dab of super glue keeps these shims where they need to be because you need like 4 hands to hold all these little bits and pieces when you're reassembling.
I went over to the passenger side and I looked at these shims. There's 4 of them on the passenger side and they're all very thin ones. So I actually stopped and I took them apart, and it would appear that that one plus that one kind of equals the thickness of that one. So I'm just gonna try and even them out.
I'm doing this really slow because I don't want to bump the bracket accidentally and knock the shims off and then have to start all over again.
No, not at all. I'm here to learn too, just like you. I have a question for you. Did this lady with the bad tire, did she by any chance leave a wheel lock key?
I did not ask for it.
I searched through the car and I didn't find one.
The driver's side of the car I did specifically for the camera. It took me a lot longer. Now I'm going to get the other side and I'm just going to get it done.
I want to park it up against the wall.
Man, it's been sitting on this hoist for months. Time to put it outside for a little photo opportunity. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next episode.